Everyone on my team is Spanish.
Okay.
Nobody calls in English. And most of the people think that they cannot have success because they don't know the language. You don't necessarily have to speak English for you to help people that need it. I mean, there's a lot of Spanish people that don't even have access to speaking to someone in Spanish and don't make the decision to get a life insurance because they don't know who to talk to.
Today's True Talk guest is Efraysa Ramos. Efraysa lives in New York, probably the hardest state in the country to sell life insurance in.
It was tough. When I started dialing, people started cursing me out.
Did you argue with them?
I used to argue with them.
Efraysa has done a lot for the Hispanic market, one of our top Spanish agents, and is passionate about protecting others because she's seen so many people around her suffer from not having insurance, not having living benefits, and she wants to make sure that she prevents that from happening to others.
But I heard the young guy won.
Yeah, he won. So you didn't watch any of it?
Nah.
Your husband did?
My husband did.
What
You
did he
should have
say?
brought him over here.
I know, right?
Well, he actually had a bet with my son that if Mike Tyson won, he would give my son $50. And if the other guy won, my son would give him a pair of sneakers, Jordans.
Oh, man.
And when he walked in with the Jordans, I know who won.
It's a bad bet, though. Like $50 for over Jordans? Like, you teach your son about betting.
I told him to stop betting with my husband.
Yeah.
He always loses with him.
My son's 14. He was trying to ask me about, he was asking me about a DraftKings account. He's like, so I can get one and just bet? I'm like, no, dude, that's not how it works. No, absolutely not. I can only support one gambling habit, and that's my own. Yeah. So, but anyways, thanks for coming down. Appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
You live in New York.
Yes.
New York's the best state to sell life insurance,
yes,
isn't it?
Is.
Yeah.
Definitely.
How long you been in New York now?
I've been there. I'm 39 years old, so 32 years.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yes.
Always in the Long Island area?
No, 5 years in Long Island.
Where were you before that?
Brooklyn.
What part?
Bushwick.
Okay. My wife's from Bay Ridge.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time in Brooklyn. The old Brooklyn, not like it is now.
Yeah, it's not the same anymore.
No. So what did you do prior to life insurance? Like, life insurance is I think an odd business to get into when you live in New York just because of like all the regulations. Like, I mean, New York Life like rules everything. But what is your background? I saw you did some sales at an eyeglass.
Yes. I've worked doing that for 17 years.
Yeah.
It was amazing in the sense that I will always educate the clients and make sure that whatever choice they chose, right, it's whatever was best for them.
Okay.
But not necessarily to do the sale itself.
Yeah.
Because when you push a sale, usually the sale comes back as a negative, right?
Absolutely.
Or chargeback.
Yeah.
But it was a great experience. I do feel that with what we do now, we could impact more
Absolutely.
than before.
Yeah.
So
how'd you get into that job?
Well, I was recommended by a friend.
Yeah.
To go there and just get interviewed. But I liked talking to people and helping.
Yeah.
And
you knew it was sales from the beginning?
No. I had to learn everything from zero.
So that was your first sales job?
Yeah, first sales job.
What'd you do prior to that?
I was young, so I was in college.
Okay.
And high school and all that before that. First time doing sales.
Got it. What'd you study in college?
Accounting.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's a little different than
Yeah.
eyeglass sales.
I figured I like the numbers. Let me go for something safe, but I didn't want to be stuck in a place where it was just an office and I didn't get to interact with people.
So did you ever work in that field?
No. Never.
How's that feel? You go to college.
Having a degree.
Yeah.
And having a student loan and not pursuing that, it feels amazing that I actually pay less for the license and I'm making a lot more than a regular accountant can actually get. Yes.
So you're at this place for 17 years. How did you go from there to life insurance?
Well, while still working there, Digna decided to get her license because I've known her for about 15 years. And she reviewed the policy that I had because when I
you already had a policy.
I had a policy because I became a mother when I was 25.
Okay.
And
hold on, let's talk about that. So you're 25, first child. How'd you get your policy?
Well, one of my cousins introduced me to a life insurance agent that wanted to get a life insurance on her. And she said that because I was a mom, maybe it was more beneficial for me to get it.
Okay.
So I went and got it. It was a term life insurance, by the way. But
and that was an easy decision for you. Did you know anything about life insurance prior?
I had no idea about how it worked.
Yeah.
I did medicals. I was approved. I was actually approved with the best rating in the company because I was very healthy then.
Yeah.
But I felt there was something there missing. So when Digna got her license, I asked her to do a review of my policy because she told me she was doing life insurance. And when she saw it, it turned out that the policy that I had when I turned 80, I was going to end up paying $2,000 a month.
Got it.
So she actually reviewed it. She gave me something a lot better.
Yeah.
And I told her that I wanted, because I've done other businesses with her, network marketing and stuff.
Okay.
So I asked her, how can I get my license and work with her in that field?
So she didn't really recruit you.
No.
She helped you get into what you felt was a better policy.
Yes.
And then because of that, you're like, how can I do this?
Yes, exactly.
Got it.
And it was an amazing experience, you know. I
Yeah.
went and got my license. We actually started working for another company prior to this, 2 companies prior to these. And it was just family and friends. It was me talking to my friends and family about life insurance and inviting them into a Zoom, bringing them with Digna. Digna would do the whole presentation. I still didn't know a lot about life insurance. She'll educate them, and if they say yes, I just had to gather their details and do that application.
Okay, that was at the other company.
Yes.
So you guys didn't have any leads.
No, at all. I didn't even know what a lead was. We didn't find out until we went to an event that there were leads and people that actually wanted this.
Got it. So how long were you there before you found out about Family First Life?
About a year.
Yeah. And you just came over when Digna did? Did you find out on your own?
We went on to an event, 8% Nation.
Okay.
And people started talking about crazy numbers.
Yeah.
And we were like, wait, what is that?
Which is not our event, by the way. So you went to another event,
Yes.
and people are talking about their numbers, what they're doing here.
There were a lot of people from Family First Life there. It was 10 of us at the time. Digna was trying to build an agency with us.
Yeah.
And one of our friends, Maria Vargas, she decided to start digging into Family First Life and find out how it works. And she kept telling Digna, I think we got to do this. I really think we got to do this. And then we took a look at it, and 10 of us recruited ourselves, basically, into Family First Life.
And that all started by going to that 8%?
Yes.
Wow.
By going to that one event.
What was the big, was it just how much money they said they were making, the comp?
The fact that it was different carriers, because what happened was we used to work only with one carrier, one product. Yeah. So if the person didn't qualify for that product, a month later, sometimes 2 months later, it's when you'll find out that they were declined and you didn't get paid.
Got it. I have a theory about if you work at a company that only has one carrier, one product, you should quit and work somewhere else.
I agree.
Because you can't properly help out your client if you only have one thing to offer, right? Like imagine going to the car dealership and they got one car. You're like, I don't want that. Oh, we have Honda Civics here. Like, I don't want that though. What's all you got?
Yep.
You go somewhere else.
Yes.
How could you provide the best product if you only have one product?
It's impossible to do.
Yeah.
It is. And I've actually had people that passed because I couldn't give them a better product.
Really?
I couldn't give them like a final expense or anything like that.
Yeah.
I didn't have that available.
So they didn't qualify for what you had.
No.
They got nothing.
And I was not able to do anything else.
So you've had clients that you met with, you had this one product, it wasn't
family and friends.
Families and friends.
Yes.
And they passed away with no life insurance.
Correct.
God, how's that feel?
Horrible.
Yeah.
It was one of my best friend's father that passed.
Wow.
And I couldn't do anything.
So for you, obviously comp, more money, all that's great, but the idea of I now have this kind of basket of carriers to pull from, like over a dozen, that was what attracted you to come here. Yeah.
I mean, the fact that we didn't have to wait a month to find out if the person qualified or not, the fact that we didn't have to wait a month to then know that whether we were going to get paid or not. But not only that, the most important part is that if you have different things to offer to your client, if your client doesn't really necessarily gets approved for one, you always have other options for them.
Yeah.
And being able to do that and not have to get a GoFundMe, for example, it's what makes more sense.
Yeah, because
doing the right thing for the client.
Absolutely. And, it might not always be the product that they want, because sometimes health will preclude them from getting that policy. But with us, just because you can't get this one doesn't mean you can't get, one of these 3 or 4 over here. So we have a policy for everybody.
Yes, we do.
So you went to that event, joined us, and then you also went to our 2022 convention, right?
Yes. Well, first, before I got there, I started dialing from New York.
Okay, so you're already
by
dialing.
myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you know about how restrictive New York was?
No.
No.
I already know that we didn't have any carriers at that time because the person that we were working with originally told us there's no business in New York.
Got it.
So we knew that there were leads.
Yeah.
We were investing in leads, yes. But it was tough because when I started dialing, people started cursing me out. So I used to get very emotional, and
Did you argue with them?
I used to argue with them. I used to hang up the phone, and I used to argue.
How's that work out?
Well, it's gotten better.
Yeah, yeah. Don't argue with them.
But it was really tough, you
Yeah.
know, and especially when you're used to working with family and friends that they're willing to listen to you, even if they don't get what you have.
Right.
So it was something totally different.
Yeah.
By myself, I used to tell Digna, I called 100 people today, and I've only called maybe 5 or 10 people because I didn't want to keep dialing. So it was tough. I did come down to Florida
Yeah.
a few days before convention.
Okay.
Her and I were dialing together. So I called a guy that I had the address wrong, my first client.
Yeah.
And he actually corrected the address for me and told me, please bring your driver's license because without that, they're not going to let you in the building. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So we're there. We knew we had knowledge about insurance, but we didn't know how final expense or which carriers to go to. So we're sitting down with him. 3 applications later, he finally gets approved. 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I earned 2 weeks worth of my regular job
Wow.
in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I go to convention, and when I saw the possibility that was available for us and how so many people were walking down that stage with the knowledge and the earnings that were possible for us, I decided to send a text message that same Saturday to my employer and fire him.
Wow. And this was the eyeglass place?
Yes.
Yep. So you were still working there while you were doing the sales of the other company. And just off
That
of
was my part-time thing.
Yeah. Wow. So you had this one experience dialing with Digna in Florida. You made a sale.
Yes.
Did you just make that one sale prior to convention?
No, I started doing one sale prior to convention,
Okay.
but I started doing appointments.
Yeah.
More people were willing to talk to me on the phone,
Okay.
and I was able to do a couple of sales after that because I actually quit on Saturday.
Yeah.
I told them I'll give them the 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I traveled back to New York on Sunday, and then Monday morning they're like, "Oh, you're not on schedule." And I was like, "Why did I come back to New York for?"
Oh,
so I
man,
came
that's-
and
yeah.
spent a whole month, almost 2 months, with Digna to
Wow.
work, and we just decided to do it and not follow my mom's advice because my mom
What was your
told
mom's
me
advice?
that why would I quit a job that gives me a salary and commission to do something that I was not 100% sure that it was going to give me results.
Yeah.
As a single mom with a 6-year-old.
Oh, so you were raising your kid by your own?
Yeah,
self,
my
by your own
first-
self
my
back
first
then.
child,
God, He was
yes.
6.
6 years old.
Wow.
Actually, no, he was 6 when my mom got sick. So in 22, he was 12.
12. Okay.
12 years old at
So
that
raising
time.
a 12-year-old by yourself.
myself.
You got a steady job, right?
Yes.
And then you tell your mom you're leaving, and
She's
she
like,
says,
"You're crazy.
Yeah.
I don't think you should do that. I don't think it's a good idea because I'm a homeowner too. So
Yeah.
having a mortgage and a lot of bills that come
Right, it's all
with
on you.
that, it's on me.
Yeah, you can't send a 12-year-olds to work,
Yeah.
and we already know about his betting strategy, so
Yeah,
he's not
not
going to win you
good.
any money there. So why'd you make the move?
Why? Because I wanted to provide a better life for my mom.
Yeah.
She's a cancer survivor, and my child was 6 at that time. And having life insurance that only pays if the person dies was not what we needed at that time, right? Because
Okay.
she was going through the process.
So wait, when did she get diagnosed with cancer?
2017.
So you were at the other company.
I was working just sales
Just
with
sales,
with
okay.
eyeglasses. I have a brother
Yeah.
from my mom and my dad that lived with us. And my mom was in a different apartment. So for me, I've always been the person that works all the time.
Yeah.
So I had to work harder to be able to provide,
Wow.
to pay bills in 2 households.
Yeah.
Because it took 8 months for her to get disability.
Oh my God.
And I couldn't go to her doctor's appointments. I had to make sure the house was always
Yeah,
clean. I
yeah.
had to cook. I had to work, pay the bills, and it was really tough. So for me, every time I speak to a client that could possibly qualify for something good with living benefits, I
Mm-hmm.
always mention that story. Why? Because as a daughter, it's tough to
Yeah.
go through that. So
Yeah,
if
imagine what it would have been like if you had a policy.
I would
that
not
had
have to work.
Yeah.
So having the possibility to know that if you need it, it's there, rather than you need it and it's not,
Yep.
it makes a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. So your mother cancer-free?
Yes,
Yep.
thank God.
Awesome. And now, so this was years later, she tells you, no, you shouldn't leave this job because
No,
it's
now
steady.
she's happy.
Yeah, well, now, but I'm saying at the time, she's
Yeah,
like, don't
she
do
didn't.
it.
She didn't
right?
want me to do it. Yeah.
Did you take that into consideration at all, or were you
I
just...
spoke to Digna.
Okay.
Digna has been the angel
Yeah.
that I've always needed in my life. She's tough, by the way.
She is.
She's not tough with everybody, but she's very tough
Just
with
you?
me. Yeah. Like she's very loving and admiring and all that, but With me, she's very, very
Right.
tough in the sense that she knows she's always seen the capacity that of the things that I can achieve. So she has always pushed me to do what's best for
Yeah.
me. And I feel that sometimes when you have someone like that in your life, it really pushes you
Yeah.
to take out that diamond that you have inside of you.
Yeah. Do you feel like you almost owe it to her?
I do.
Yeah.
I actually do.
Why?
Why? Because she's the only person that has been there from day one.
Yeah.
She's the person that no matter what goes wrong in my life and I speak to her, she never lets me focus on the negative stuff. She always talks about the possibilities that we have and how much we could grow doing what we do.
How long have you known her?
I've known her for 15 years
How'd you guys meet?
through a cousin.
Really?
Yeah. She used to be my cousin's manager.
Oh, okay.
And when she used to do corporate before.
Yeah. Got it. So y'all just hit it off. Has known
Yes.
each other ever since. That's awesome.
I always say that she's my stepmom
Yeah.
or my adoptive mom. But
Yeah.
she feels she's too young to be.
Yeah. She's awesome too. We just had her in
Yes.
a few weeks ago. So definitely check out her True Talk. It was great. When you started, you were a single mom.
Yes.
Says you were driving 4 hours daily to work,
Yes.
leaving little time for your child. That was when you were at the eyeglass place?
Correct.
You're driving 4 hours?
4 hours a day, 2 hours to go, because I used to work in Queens.
Okay.
And Long Island to Queens traffic time,
yeah.
it's horrible. So I used to work Monday through Fridays
Yeah.
only. So I used to spend the weekends with my child.
Okay.
But I used to leave early, 7 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
to be able to find parking and be able to go to work. And then I used to go home.
What
get
time did you
home
start work?
At 10.
So you leave at 7 to get there at
7
10.
to be able to get there on time to find parking. And then I usually got off 6
Yeah.
when traffic is really jamming. And sometimes
Oh,
it will
my
take
God.
me, Fridays used to take me 3 hours instead of 2 going back. So Fridays will be 5 hours.
And how old was your son at the time?
All that time, he was about 11,
Yeah.
12.
Wow. So you
When I
only
went
really
through
saw
that.
him on it because by the time you get home, it's like time to get ready.
He never slept at home during the week.
Oh, he didn't?
I didn't have time for him.
Wow. Who do you stay with, your mom?
No, he used to stay at my aunt's house.
Got it. Wow. So was
Because
that?
my mom used to work in the city at that
Yeah.
time.
It's got to suck for
Yeah.
you, right? Like,
It was tough.
yeah. But
And
you had
I
to
know
do
he
it.
might feel some type of way against it.
Sure.
But now that he has access to me more than ever,
Yeah.
I know that's changed. I made sacrifices, yes, and we all do, as
Yeah.
mothers specifically. But at the end, it's for them to have a better life more than anything.
Yeah. Wow. So you joined us, made some sales, went to conference. What was the convention like?
Oh, it's amazing.
This was
Training.
the Miami one
Yes.
at the stadium.
Yes.
Yeah.
The only one at the stadium that I've been able to go to, because after that, I think everything changed to
Yes.
Texas.
Correct.
It was an amazing experience. Being able to do the trainings, being able to meet with people that were having success.
Yeah.
I always forget the kid's name. I think it was Michael. I forgot his last name. He's 19 years old, doing 400,000 in a year.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
His story was very
Yep.
impactful for me because
Yep.
it really doesn't matter how much knowledge you have. If
Right.
you really put your all into it and you work hard, you will get results.
Sure.
You're not gonna get the same results as a person next to you,
Nope.
but you will get better results than you have in the past.
Absolutely. And this was the event. This was an A-Rod spoke?
No.
No, the year
April
after.
was the year after. The year after I wasn't able to go.
Oh, you didn't
I
go
was
to the second one.
pregnant and I couldn't travel.
Got it. Well, you've been to other events, right? You were in network marketing.
Yes.
What was it about this event that was so different?
The fact that everyone is transparent. I love the fact that here you can ask anyone anything about what is it that they're doing to
Yeah.
have the success, and everyone is willing to give you that answer. There's a lot of places where you maybe go and people are having the success and
Yeah.
they want to keep it to themselves because they feel that they've worked so hard all this time.
So you've been there. Like, you've asked someone, hey, how are you doing X, Y, and
Yes.
Z? And what do they say?
Dial, buy leads,
Yeah.
dial, and try to help people.
Yeah.
And I feel, and I think that's the reason why I like what I do.
Yeah.
I've always been the type of person that I don't push anything. If I feel that that person doesn't really want it and I have to convince them to do it, I don't do it.
Got it.
Why? Because I like more educating the client,
Yeah.
making sure that they understand and they see why it is that they need it, and then helping them find the best option for them, no matter which carrier it is or how I'm going to get paid.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, whatever I do for them will pay me.
Yeah, because if you educate them enough, they're going to make the right decision.
Yes.
Well, what would, so at other companies, when you'd ask these people, what are they doing? Like, they just would tell you, or I'm not going to tell you? Like, they wouldn't share?
No, I'm just selling.
Just selling?
selling.
Just vague? Like,
Yeah. They would not go into details as to what to do. I mean, we didn't even know what a lead was when we were in the previous company, and we had someone there making a lot of sales. How was that person in particular making so much money if it's only family and friends and you only have a list of 200 people?
Right. That's crazy.
Yes.
So it says here you initially struggled with the work-life balance, right? Mm-hmm. Because what we do, it's 1099. Yes. It's not W-2. It's not a job. You're not going to clock in, clock out, right? There's no boss. Like, I know you have Digna, but, like, at the end of the day.
And having her is tougher than a boss, I think.
But there's no boss going, like, hey, Efraysa, you didn't, clock in today. It's like you're essentially your own boss.
Yes.
Right? What was that struggle like early on with that work-life balance, and then how did you kind of overcome that?
Well, before I quit the job, it was tough because I didn't get to spend time with my child during the weekdays. So there was no helping him with homework or anything like that. But I feel that when you become your own boss or you work for yourself, having a schedule is a very important part of it, right? And being able to stick to that schedule, because a lot of people write a schedule up, but don't really do the things because they're by themselves.
Sure.
Now, there are distractions that you may have at home because it happens. Life happens, right? Yep. But if you stick as much as possible to that schedule and you try to figure out what is it that I'm doing in the intervals of maybe 30 minutes, you will become more successful. You'll have more success during the day and during the week.
People don't realize how much time they actually have during a day. It's like, I did this, and it took me hours, and a day went by. No, but to your point, it's because you're not planning anything. It's just you just wake up and go at it as it goes, and then the day goes by.
Yes,
but there's
and you didn't get to do anything at all.
You can do a lot in 30 minutes. You can do a lot done in that, but you got to be intentional about it. Were you always that way, or is that something that you learned?
I wasn't like that in the beginning. And when I was pregnant with my last child, I used to have the camera off, and Digna would be like, "Where's the Efraysa?" Because I don't hear anything, any dialing, and I don't see her.
Yeah.
But I did understand that having responsibilities and being a mom and having to provide for your family makes you change that, makes you want to have a schedule that really works and makes you want to give it your all, because this is what happens. A lot of people usually do this part-time, right? But then they're doing two things at a time. They're not setting a schedule to do, and they might try to do both at the same time, and they have no success in either or because they're not setting intentional results, right? Now, when you have a schedule, and let's say you dedicate 4 hours to one thing and 4 hours to the other, and you only focus on that, then the results might be better. And then you potentially can fire a boss and do this full time.
Well, how long were you with us before you fired your boss?
Well, I fired my boss in convention.
At convention. So
I had just started.
Yeah.
About a month.
How'd that feel?
It took a month or so for me to get contracted.
Okay. Once you were contracted.
I needed to get, because I was already doing life insurance part-time, right, with family and friends. But I needed to find the right place to be. I've always had the leader. Digna has always been there. Yeah. But we needed to find the right opportunity to be able to take over and do things differently and right.
Yeah, because if not, it's like you're beating your head against the wall. Yeah. There's plenty of people, and now that you're out there, you're in, like, it's hard because a lot of times in sales, not a lot of it is on you, right? Yes. Like with Family First Life, your success is based on your own efforts.
Yes.
Digna could be the greatest leader in the world, but if you're not out there putting the work in, if your mindset isn't right, you're not going to have results. But unfortunately, there are some companies where it ain't your fault.
No.
You're not set up for success, right? Like if you're selling to just friends and family, you're not set up for success
at all.
Because you only have so many friends and family, right?
Yes. And not only that, you invite them to a party, they don't want to come because you're going to talk about life insurance.
Yep. Like you don't want to be that person that when you call someone, they go, "Oh man, it's Efraysa again. She's going to try to sell me on the new album. God knows what she's selling now, right?" Yeah. Like, you don't want to be that person where you're at the family cookout and everybody's just running away from you. But sometimes, like, it's not you. It's the vehicle you're in. You may be doing everything you can, but you're just set up to not have success because of what you don't have.
The limitations, the product availability, the leader that doesn't want to share what they're doing, and they just tell you, read the script, call, and you're on your own. Yeah. That's what usually happens the most.
Yep. If you worked it, you should quit. Quit. Like, it's a 1099 commission only position. You don't really quit. You leave and go somewhere else.
Yes.
If you don't
Find
have
yourself
leads,
a good leader and a place that could provide everything you're missing.
Absolutely. I read this here. It said you want to help others avoid the burden of GoFundMe campaigns.
Yes.
Like it's a sad world we live in when you see, and especially when you're on this side of it and you know how little you could pay for a life insurance policy, right? Like everyone doesn't need, $2 million to cover. Like most people for less than $100 can get a decent life insurance policy, right? I mean, you've sold a bunch. And the fact that there's so many people that don't have one of those in place and then they have to resort to a GoFundMe. It's sad. You see them all the time on social media, right? So-and-so died, and here's this GoFundMe.
I've actually have a friend that couldn't take her mom out of the hospital for 3 months because she didn't have the money to pay for that funeral.
Wait, so she's passed away.
Mom passed.
Body's in the hospital.
3 months in the hospital, dead. And she couldn't take her out because she didn't have the funds. And we all have to work on putting that out there, letting people know that, yes, it's going to be a cost to have it. But at the end of the day, whatever you're doing to provide for your family is going to be replaced by that life insurance. What's going to happen when you pass and that income is no longer there for your family?
Right.
We got to try to get rid of the financial burden because the physical one, the emotional one is always going to be there.
Absolutely. What was the amount that she needed to get mom out?
About 25.
25,000. Which most policy, you get 25. I mean, depending, obviously age, health, but what, $50 a month maybe?
About 50.
Crazy. So for it, but no one ever spoke to them or whatever. They never had that chance to get a policy, but that's why what we do is so important.
Yes.
Because for all of $25 a month could have prevented the 3 months. That's got to be horrible to deal with. Mom passed away. You want to get, some closure from a burial or whatnot, and now you're waiting 3 months because you got to save up the money to get her out. It's crazy.
It's tough, and we could actually avoid all of that from happening.
Yep. So prior to this, like you didn't know much about life, like you didn't know how passionate you would be about life insurance.
I didn't know how passionate I could be.
Why do you think you're so passionate now? Just because these situations you've seen?
Because I feel that if you really want to help others and you explain exactly what it's available, like when we do leads, for example, I never go for what they want as far as the product itself that the lead comes through.
Yeah.
We try to go more deep into why you're looking into the information. They're always, whenever you ask, they're always going to tell you the superficial stuff, the stuff that it's not really what they wanted. Right. So I always like to ask, why? Why did you click? Like, what made you go and click that button? So they'll give you a little answer, and I always go, again, why? Because of that. Because the deeper you dig into the answer, the more emotional it's going to become for them, and the more they're going to see and hear themselves tell you why is it that they need it. I go into qualification, and depending on what it is that they could qualify for, then I offer the product that's available. The person can want an IUL, but if the person's selling me something that they can qualify, I don't go and explain and sell something that they're not going to get.
That's the worst and I think we've all probably been there early on where you show them, the Rolls Royce of the you can do this and that, and then you start asking, they're like, I had a heart attack 2 years ago. Like, oh man.
Not only that when you focus and you listen to what they have to tell you, and you don't just they tell you, I want a $25,000 life insurance, for example. Most of the people that sell and only focus on sales are going to say, okay, let me tell you exactly how much it's going to cost you.
Right.
When you don't even know what the person qualifies for, and if they even have all the stuff that they got to cover. What if that person has a mortgage? And if they pass, the wife who's not working at home has to pay for that mortgage and only got the $25,000 that they asked you for. So that's why I feel that we always have to try to dig in and find out more information till we find exactly what is the need of the family and try to get them as close as possible to being able to provide for that.
What's your work-life balance like now? So, like we talked about early on, you were a single mom, one kid.
I work more than ever.
Never saw him during the week, right? Now you have 2 kids.
Yes, and a husband that just got here 3 months ago.
Just got here.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I work from 9. I start training at 8 in the morning.
Okay.
We do a book club.
Yeah.
We start dialing or training with Digna mindset, 9 a.m., and I'm on Zoom till 11 o'clock at night with a 1-year-old at home, with a 14-year-old, a husband, and a mother.
Wow.
And my mom is always like, when are you going to come down from the office? But I feel that it's my responsibility to be there because I have an agency and I have agents that need my guidance in order for them to be successful as well. So my family understands that I'm not going to be there 24/7. They understood that there's sacrifices that I'm making so that we can have a better life later on. And the 14-year-old understands it already.
Yeah.
The 1-year-old is not going to remember anything that's happening now.
Right.
So if I can lock in for the next 5 years and work as hard as possible and have the success that I want, that child is going to have a different life in 5 years.
Absolutely.
So they don't really bother me too much when I'm stuck in
But
the
I love
office.
that, like, it's funny. We get a lot of people on, and a lot of times, like, you know, they've been here for years and they're past that phase, but you're in that sacrifice phase where it's like that's...
I actually have a tattoo on the back that says temporary sacrifices for permanent results.
Really?
In Spanish, yes.
Where'd you get that?
I got it this year.
Yeah.
In June.
It sums up what you're doing. But that's what, like, it's... People want their pleasure all the time, right? They want, like, I just want to be happy all the time. I want everything to be easy. But it's like if everything's easy now, it's going to be harder later in life.
Yep.
You're better off going through the hard now.
Yes.
And it's like at the end of the day, it's a few years. We're not talking, you know, hey, for 30 years.
Imagine having to work hard until you're 65.
Yeah.
And not having the results that you want.
Right.
Why not do something for 5 to 10 years and maybe retire when you're 50?
Absolutely. And the beauty about being your own boss, being whatever, however you want to word it, is when you really need to go do something with your kid, you can. You schedule it in, though.
Yes.
Right? Like, how often do you make sure that, hey, my son needs it, whatever?
My son goes to soccer every Sunday for games. So I make sure Sundays are available just for the family.
Yeah.
If I had to drop him off at a practice and my husband is not available, then I schedule around the times that I have to do that. If my child has an appointment or anything that has to do with the family, I always make sure that whatever it is that I'm doing goes around that.
Yeah.
So that there's no complaints from them. Oh, mommy's not available. My wife is not available. Stuff like that. And it's easier to do than when you have a regular job.
Absolutely. Yeah. Imagine your regular job when you were working, you know, at the eye doctor place, you're 2 hours away.
Yeah.
Imagine like, oh, my son needs something later this afternoon. Let me leave for an hour and come back.
No,
right.
2 hours, 4 hours. That's 4 hours. Might as well stay home.
Yep. No, that's awesome though. And it's a quality over quantity time. Like, because think about during the week, I mean, the kids are in school. Like, what are you going to go hang out on the couch with them? Like, Sunday's the quality time.
Yes.
Son's out playing soccer. That's the stuff that they'll remember. Not the, you know, hey, mom was up there working when I was doing my homework. Okay. But was she at your soccer game? Did she, you know, those are the things that are important.
Was she able to buy you what you needed?
That too. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because
they only think of that when they're teenagers.
Yeah. I know. We got Christmas coming around. Like, my kids' list, like, dude, what do you think? Like, do we just, like, are made of, like, is a money tree out back? Like, I think they try to test. Like, my olders, they know. But a few years ago when we weren't sure if they still believed or not, they knew Santa wasn't real, but they tested us because they're like, oh, Santa's going to get this stuff. So they had, like, everything on there. Like, you know, I want this console and this and 18 pairs of Jordan. I'm like, dude, that ain't how it works. So we had to just tell them, like, you know, Santa's right here, bro. But the beauty about what we do, though, is you have the ability, like you said, if you put in the time, if you put in the effort, to have whatever results you want, as long as you're willing to work for them.
Yes. And you can have any results. Like, anything you want, you can have it as long as you work hard for it.
Correct.
Yes.
Yep. We're going to move into, we have a segment we do here. It's called True or False. Pretty simple. I'm going to throw out some statements at you, some opinions that they're not mine because some of them are true, some are false. You're going to let me know if you believe they're true or false, and then we'll take a few and kind of discuss them. So here's one. You should always try to make more money on every policy you sell.
That's false.
That's false. Having leads is easier than selling to friends and family.
True.
Insurance is the best get-rich-quick scheme.
False.
Anybody can do this.
It depends.
Okay.
But yes, anybody can do it. So let's say true.
All right. Women are not good at sales.
That's false.
That's false. If English is not your first language, you can't sell life insurance.
That's definitely false because I do this in Spanish.
Right. You do it all in Spanish.
Yes.
You can't be successful selling in New York City.
You can. So
you can. And then last one.
It you can or you can't?
You can't.
Okay, so that's false.
That's false. Last one. Everybody watching should go to fflconvention.com and buy a ticket for the 2025 annual convention.
True.
That is true. So let's go back to, if English is not your first language, you can't sell. You said false.
Yes.
Now, I would say a few years ago, I wouldn't say you can't, but it was with us, it was a lot harder.
Yes.
Definitely. Right? We didn't have a lot of things set up in place. But why is that false to you now?
Everyone on my team is Spanish.
Okay.
Nobody calls in English. There's maybe one or two people that call in English.
Yeah.
And most of the people think that they cannot have success because they don't know the language. Yes, most of the materials and applications are done in English.
Right.
Which is okay because we could train and we could do applications and you could learn how to do it.
Yep.
But you don't necessarily have to speak English for you to help people that need it. I mean, there's a lot of Spanish people that don't even have access to speaking to someone in Spanish and don't make the decision to get a life insurance because they don't know who to talk to.
Correct.
So they're underserved, right? Now, when you actually meet somebody that wants the information and you can actually educate them in their language, it will make a whole difference.
It's almost like that's half the sale right there. Like I've been there on the other side where like I used to run, and you probably don't know the area that well, but Springfield, Mass. A lot of Hispanic people. I don't speak Spanish. My wife does. I understand enough. But I understand, like, you're talking around the house, that type of stuff. I don't understand Spanish to where I can sit down and explain a life insurance policy.
And it's tough for them to speak to someone that doesn't speak Spanish because they're not really understanding. They might do it because they know that they need it, but they don't know what they have in their hands.
It's a lot harder, though. Yes. I've done it, but they're like, you're going to be in there for a long time. You may be on the phone with someone who can translate. It's not the best recipe for success, right? But how many clients are out there that won't even look into life insurance because they only speak Spanish and they don't want to speak to someone who
There's a lot. And it's not only having someone that can speak to them in Spanish, it's them getting the education because they're not used to life insurance.
Correct.
They don't know how it works. They all think that it's something that's going to come only when they die. And they have no idea of all the possibilities. Or the things that are with life insurance, right? So it is our job to try to educate them as much as possible and put it out there that there is options and there are people that are speaking their language to help them.
Right. Because I could sit down and explain to you that it's life insurance and how much it's going to cost, but I didn't know enough Spanish to tell you about the living benefits and about, how long it's good for all this stuff. I'd have to get somebody else to. And the amount of clients that are going to want to go through that to get insurance are not many. Like the few that I sat with, they just must have really wanted it.
Yes.
But for the most part, I agree there's probably a good percentage of the Hispanic demographic that won't even look into life insurance because they already have it set in their mind that it's going to be someone who doesn't speak Spanish and I'm not going to understand it and I don't want to buy something I don't understand.
And they see it as a bill most of the time.
Yes.
They don't see it as a necessity. They see it as a bill more than anything.
New York. So you can't be successful selling life insurance in New York. A few years ago, I would have agreed with that.
Yes.
Why is that false, though?
Because you don't necessarily have to sell in New York.
Right.
You could always get a license outside of New York in any other state. Have the possibility to do this from home.
Yeah.
Different time zones. So let's say it's a busy mom that has a child that's young, 1 year old like mine, let's say, and the husband works and she cannot work because she has to take care of the child or whatever. She could do this in any state on the phone at home while her child sleeps at whatever time it is that she has available. So whether it is calling Hawaii 6 hours less, whether it is calling Washington 3 hours less, there's a lot of more possibility.
Right.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be the East Coast or New York. You could always do it in any state from home.
Absolutely. It's like we put ourselves in these boxes sometimes. Like, if it's not 8 to 4, it's not work. Who says that that's the only time you can work?
No. There's a lot of people that work night times.
Absolutely.
And have success.
If your schedule is to where you have kids to take care of during the day, it's just you could essentially not work during the day, do what you need to do, and then to your point, when the kids are sleeping, then get on the phone. Well, you have to give up some sleep, but it's like, what are you willing to do, to sacrifice, to give up, to get to where you want to be?
And I feel that having that conversation with your spouse and being supportive with each other makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
In the sense that, for example, if the husband is the one working until 4 or 5 and the mom is there with the kids, when the husband comes home, if he wants really success for his family, then he should also be willing to help out with the kids a little. So the mom can work and
Yeah.
potentially retire him, and then they could pay somebody to take care of the kids while they do this.
Yeah.
100%.
I'm assuming you've had a similar conversation.
I have a tough one to make. I haven't made that
Oh, you
full
haven't yet?
conversation.
Okay. Oh, so you're talking to yourself.
Remember, he's only been here 3 months.
Okay.
But he understands the fact that I'm working.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about taking care of the kids.
Right.
Like, I know that I'm on Zoom with my team, and I'm working 9 to 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
That I know.
Got it.
But there's more sacrificing into that because my mom, for example, complains that I'm spending too much. Like, she knows the success that I'm having.
Right.
But she feels that I'm not spending enough time with the baby now that my husband is here. Now my husband favorites my child favorites my husband instead of me. But it's okay.
It's okay. They'll grow up and realize So my oldest daughter, she's 12, Carmela. When she was born, it was the 2 years before we started this company. And I was selling full time and working in the office. I worked like 100 hours plus a week.
Wow.
I 8 to 4 in the office, and then I would either be dialing or running appointments till 10, 11 o'clock at night. Back then it was all paper apps. We'd go to the office, scrub the apps, send them out. And then I had one evening, it was Tuesday, where I'd leave the office like 5 or 6 o'clock and go home for a few hours. The first year she was born, Taylor could have picked up my daughter and she wouldn't have known the difference between me and him.
Wow.
And then fast forward, she ends up being biggest daddy. Like now she's a mini me, and she's like, I don't have favorite kids, but if I did, it'd probably pick up. My kids don't watch this.
Probably do.
Yeah. But my point is, like, I knew, like you said earlier, she's a newborn.
Yes.
She ain't going to remember this.
They won't. And they'll appreciate it more when they're older.
I'll tell you what. I was telling you I was in New York a few weeks ago. We were at the Billie Eilish concert at Madison Square Garden.
Nice.
She loved that. But I had to give up stuff when she was little to help to get into the position to do something like that when she's 12 years old.
Yes.
But it's like you got to give up to get, and if you're not willing to make sacrifices, I don't care what business you're in, you're not going to have success.
I totally agree.
You mentioned meditation. You said a book club too.
Yes.
What's that about?
Well, we actually get books that we like to read, and it's more mentality than anything.
Yeah, like personal development stuff.
Yeah, and some of them have to do, for some reason, some of them have to do with life insurance, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Digna's husband does it in English.
Okay.
I do it in Spanish.
All right.
Because most of my agents are
Does
Spanish.
what? You guys read them and then discuss them?
We read and we discuss.
Okay.
So right now we're doing like a training for mindset from a lady named Margarita Pasos.
Okay.
Where we're talking about limitations and our goals and all that, goal setting more than anything.
Yeah.
And we discuss and we try to work as much as possible into it because I feel that when you work on your mindset first, you have a lot more success.
Right.
If you start your day in the wrong foot, for example, you're not going to get the results that you want.
Correct.
You're going to get upset if a client hangs up on you, and then you're going to think that everybody's going to hang up, and everyone will hang up on you because that's what you have in your mind. So I always like to say that, for example, if I'm going to be dialing, the first thing I say when I wake up after praying is that whoever I call and I speak to, let it be a person that really wants and needs what I have. If there's a person that I'm going to call and they don't need what I have, I'd rather them not even pick up.
Yeah.
I want to spend time with the people that actually need what I have and that I can help.
Yeah.
But it's all in your mind. You cannot take it. I used to take it to myself in the beginning. I'm not going to lie. But it takes time for you to build that confidence and know that it's okay for people to say no, because the more people that say no, the closer that you're going to get to that yes.
Right. Yep. 100%.
So mindset is 100% the first thing that you got to work on.
Did you read books prior to getting into this business?
Oh, I've been reading books forever with Digna. In the company that we were with, we had to read a book a month.
Got it. So you're used to that.
Yeah.
Of all the books you've read, is there one or maybe a few that stick out as like, these are some of my favorites, some of that have been most impactful?
What is it called? It's by Harold. I read it in Spanish, not in English.
Okay.
Miracle Morning.
Okay.
It's my favorite one.
Why?
Why? Because it teaches you the things that you have to do in the morning.
Okay.
To be able to become successful, why you got to spend your time on.
Yeah.
Knowing that he's been through cancer several times and has still been positive, even going through his worst, to get the results that he wants.
Got it.
That means that it doesn't matter what situation we're in, what we're going through, if we really put our mind into doing the things that are going to make us better, we will have the success that we want.
Got it.
So I will say that's my favorite. I'm going to name one. That's my favorite.
All right, that's your favorite one. You say you meditate every morning too?
Yes, we meditate every single morning.
You guys do this together on Zoom, or how does that work?
We do it with Digna, but I do a 10-time magnetism every morning.
Yeah.
Where you visualize, you say the things that you want to achieve. And I'm going to tell you something. I write down all my goals in present tense. I am so happy and grateful now that, and I was able to leave that job in 6 months from doing that with Digna. Every single morning.
So you started this meditation goal setting for 6 months.
Prior to leaving my regular job. Yeah. And in 6 months I was able to achieve the one that said that I'm going to work from home.
Okay. So let me ask, do you think, looking back, if you did not start that, do you think you would have been able to leave that job when you did?
I don't think so.
No?
No.
Why?
Because I feel that when you think or analyze things in the present tense, the word works around it for you to be able to become exactly what you want to do.
Yeah.
And when you have a reminder, let's say you write it down and you put it in your pocket, for example, and you're going out about your day and you put your hand in your pocket and you touch it, that is always going to be in your mind.
Right.
So when you have a present visible, like I used to drive and I used to have that index card folded in front of me while I was driving.
Really?
Because I know that everything on that list is what I wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
So seeing exactly what you want every single day, writing it down every day makes a difference.
Got it.
It helps you push harder because your why is your most important thing to go for what you want, right? And if you don't have your why in front of you, anything can happen and you can give up.
What's your why now? So you've already left the job. You've done that. What's your why that you're looking at every day now?
I want to be able to provide my family with anything that they want without having to ask myself, can I afford it?
Yeah.
I want to be able to provide for my mom a better life and my dad that just recently moved to the United States. I want to be able to, anything that they need.
You're moving everybody here. You got your husband, your dad's over here
and
now.
My siblings came with my
dad. They did too. Oh, man.
So it's more thinking the long run. I know that I won't be able to do it right away.
Sure.
I know that it's going to take time.
Yeah.
I don't want to work till I'm 65 and then have to think or wonder if we're even going to have Social Security then, because we don't know if we're going to be able to get that.
Right.
So why not build something now so amazing that could continue to grow and we can provide our family members with the best life that they can have.
Yeah.
That we can teach others, because there's a lot of people that need this opportunity.
Yes.
That don't know that it's available. So what if I could get my 20 million people that I always say in my meditation to join me into doing this and be able to change their lives also.
Wow. You know, I this is just my theory. Why? Because it sounds simple, right? Speak things into existence.
Yes.
You know, manifest, whatever word you want to use, but and the answer is there. It's in any mindset book like you read, any of these personal development, that's usually the basis, right? Mindset's the first thing, perspective, the whole deal. You know, I asked, like, why don't more people do it then? And my theory is they're afraid of failure.
They are.
Because imagine, I mean, you left your job in 6 months, but there's a possibility that it could have taken you longer. There's also
that would have been okay.
It would have been okay. There's also the possibility of maybe you wouldn't have been able to leave your job with this vehicle, right? It's a possibility.
Yes. But I feel that the harder you work and the more that you believe in what you're doing, because this is what happens. A lot of people that don't believe in mindset, for example, and they say something negative to themselves, they're going to continue with that negativity in their mind and they're never going to get a result.
Sure.
So then they're going to blame the vehicle. They're going to blame the leader. But at the end of the day, it's their mindset that they don't see the positive parts of it. They don't believe into that you have to maybe do 100 presentations to be an expert at a presentation, right? They want to have results. They want first presentation. And it doesn't work like that. No. Not with everybody. So, and some people it could.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it can't happen like that. But you have to be okay with the failures. Why? Because when you fail and you get up stronger than you were when you fell, you might have better results.
Right. And you can learn from it.
Yes.
You know, it's like we were talking about the Tyson fight when we started, right? Now, why did I bring this up? I think about Tyson's mindset. First of all, he's 58 years old. Jake Paul's 27. I'm sorry, there's no 58-year-old is going to be a 28-year-old boxer, regardless of their levels. It's just not going to happen. But I saw a post that Tyson put out afterwards, and it was all about perspective. He's like, you know, first of all, I made more money on this one fight than I did in most fights in my career. I'm 58 years old, and I'm paraphrasing, but basically he impressed himself with the fact that he was able to go 8 rounds with a 27-year-old kid, get through the fight. Yes, he looked like a 58-year-old trying to box. Let's not act like, you know what I mean? But the perspective was like, it was just refreshing to see that, like, it wasn't a failure in his mind.
No, not at all.
I fought.
It's an opportunity.
It's an opportunity. And he got paid $20 million to do it. I'll fight Jake Paul and Mike Tyson for $20 million. They both can knock me out. I don't give $20 million.
Yeah.
But it's the perspective, you know, and it also the mindset and the belief that, like, he had to believe in himself enough to do it.
Yes, and not everybody does that.
No.
Not everyone believes that they really are scared of not having the results that they want. What if I fail? But what if you do what you want to do?
Exactly.
So they have to and I feel that everyone should go through that. Everyone should think, okay, you're doing the sacrifices that it takes for you to achieve whatever it is that you want. But what if it works?
Right.
Why have the regret later? Oh, I don't know. I don't know why I didn't do it.
And hey, if it fails, you're in the same spot you're in anyway. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
let's just say
Try something
you didn't
else.
work your way out of the job in 6 months. Well, you were already at the job. It's not like it got worse. You're still there.
Yeah.
You were still not. Obviously, you wanted to get out, but you're still there.
Yes.
If you know, Mike Tyson could have won, lost, right? He lost. What happened? Nothing. He got paid. He had the fight, and now he's on with his life.
Nope.
But it's a mindset. It's that, you know, what are you willing to try to see what you could get?
Because what if it works?
Right. What if
The
it
only
works?
way that you know is if you try.
Correct.
If you don't try, you're always going to live with that regret.
Absolutely.
It could have, but it didn't.
Yep. Last thing, we have a segment here we call Ask the Agent. So you've sold, let's see, first year with us, 84,000. Second year, 169,000.
Yes.
Then out of nowhere, not out of nowhere, but this year you've already about double that, 252,000. You're close for Hall of Fame. You're shooting for Hall of Fame.
I am.
Right? How'd you do so much more this year?
Well, having a team works.
Okay.
And I feel that sometimes when you do things for yourself and you focus on selling yourself only and not growing,
Yeah.
sometimes you're limited to the time. Now, remember, I was pregnant.
Yeah.
I was sleeping a lot. Digna was looking for me everywhere. So that's why I wasn't able to do
This was last year.
This was last year. Now that the baby's already won and I decided to go all in more than ever, having a team, and I have to show my team how to do it because it's not just doing the talk, it's walking the talk for them to be able to.
That's motivating for you.
Yes. So I feel that being able to build the team, being able to show them exactly how things work has helped me make that change.
Got it.
Showing them how to do things and just going for it with them, working side by side with them.
Got it.
More than anything.
2 questions for you. So first one, you're doing a lot of recruiting. A lot of times people come from a W-2 job like you did, right? It's a completely different mentality. How do you help those agents understand the importance of investing in their business? 'Cause that's probably the big, obviously you're at a job, you're working, but you don't usually spend your own money on your job, right?
Well, I let them know that if they want a business, a regular business, they got to buy materials. So if it's that pizzeria, for example, they got to rent the place, but they also got to buy the materials in order for them to be able to make that pizza, right?
Right.
So with us, it's the same thing. If you don't buy leads and you have nobody to call, you're not going to have the success that you want in your business. Now, I have been able to help a dear friend.
Yeah.
She started with me in October.
Okay.
Doing a regular job, mom of 2, not married at the time. She just recently got married in August this year. She used to come on Zoom 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Wakes up at 4 in the morning to drop off her kids at 5 in a daycare so that they could go to school from the daycare.
Yeah.
Gets home at 5 in the afternoon to be on Zoom with me 6 to 11 o'clock at night.
Wow.
And I was able to help her retire that job in 5 months.
That's awesome.
How? She had to work hard.
Yeah.
She had to commit to the time. It's not easy having 2 kids.
No.
Yes, she had her fiance at the time, who is her husband now, there to support her and her mother sometimes.
Yeah.
But if you don't commit yourself to doing this 100%, that's why I say you could do 2 things, but you have to dedicate the time to each one, and not sacrifice what you're doing to do things that are not going to be put something positive into your business.
Yeah.
But be present. And if you do that schedule and you commit to doing it 100% and work hard, you can also leave your job in less than 5 months.
Got it. Last question. how do you get new agents to get their family members to believe in the opportunity?
Well, most of the time I tell them not to listen to their
no, it's
their
good.
family.
Yeah,
but it's true. I always tell them, listen, your family is gonna say whatever they gotta say to protect you, because they don't want you to go through the bad things, right? Now, how you want to deal with it, it's up to you.
Yep.
But the way that I deal with it is, yes, I listened to my mom when she told me what she told me, not to quit. But the thing is, if you don't do it and you don't have the success, or if you don't try it and try to have the success, how can you prove them wrong that this is the right opportunity?
Right.
So I feel that they got to sit down with the family and they got to talk to them and say, listen, I know that you're doing it because you care for me, but I have to do this for myself.
Right.
If I don't fail or I don't go through it, I'm not going to know if this is the right opportunity for me.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's not like, well, maybe some, but I don't think that all family members or whoever is saying, don't do it. They're not trying to sabotage you.
They're just protecting you.
They're protecting you. A lot of it is like they're used to doing things a certain way.
Every parent wants their children to go to school, go to college, graduate, and work for somebody else. Why? Because that's the system that we have here. Nobody here in school teaches you got to be an entrepreneur from the beginning.
And what you guys, a lot of agents are doing, yourself included, you're basically, you're breaking these almost generational curses, right? Like, this is how this family has always been. Now you're doing something outside the box. The problem, the struggle with that is whatever business you're in, if you're doing things that are breaking that generational curse, the people around you are going to be the biggest naysayers.
And they don't want you to do what they couldn't do. That's exactly why.
Exactly.
They're afraid because they were afraid at one point to do something similar. And they know that because they couldn't do it, they feel that they got to tell you that you can do it also.
But the people around you will be the most negative and not, like you said, because they think they're looking out, because maybe it threatens what they did or didn't do. And I love your first statement was don't listen to them.
Don't.
Like, it's that simple.
Yes.
Who cares?
I mean, try it. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, get something else.
Yep. Like, are they paying your bills? No. So then why are you listening to them? Just prove them wrong.
Yep.
And you're doing it.
Work harder to show them that it could.
Absolutely.
What if it works? What if this is the one thing that is waiting for you and that God has provided for you to be successful?
Yeah.
If you don't try, you're never going to know.
Absolutely. Let everybody know everybody who's watching, Efraysa, let them know where to find you on social media. What's the handle? What platform?
They can find me on Instagram at Efraysa. So it's Efraysa.
I said it wrong. Efraysa.
Ramos. Or they can find me on Facebook, Efraysa Ramos Matos.
Got it.
Efraysa
Ramos. Look at
Ramos
that.
Matos.
I'm good.
Yeah. I had to add in my husband's last name on
What's his last name?
Matos. On the Facebook one.
Yeah. Isn't that like killing somebody, Mato?
Kind of.
Oh, man. It's perfect for life insurance. Mata. Yeah, there you go, Mata. Last thing, go to FFLconvention.com.
Register. Everyone needs to be there.
Everyone needs to be there.
Everyone is. And the more people that you bring, the better. Because the people that could build an agency and will have the more success are whoever goes in there with the biggest team.
Right.
Even if they're not working with us yet, and they just want to see the opportunity, I feel that they have to be there.
Correct.
Because when they see, even if it's a new agent, brand new agent, when they see the opportunity of how many people are walking through that stage, getting awarded, that it's possible to do 100, 200, 700, a million.
Right.
It's possible no matter the color, the age, or the knowledge that you have on the products, right? They're going to want to do something different. It's going to open up their mindset into what it's possible for them, and they will do this 100% harder.
That's a great point. If you are building an agency, your growth next year will be contingent upon how many people you have.
I brought to convention this year about 15 to 20 agents.
Okay.
And I was able to get agency in a few months after that. And we're already writing over 300.
So you weren't even an agency logo
I didn't have a logo yet. So after we went to convention, with those people that I went to, I got logo, and now we're doing.
How soon after what month?
Convention was February. So I think I was in the Dominican Republic in April when Digna told me that I qualified to request it.
Yeah.
2 months.
So 2 months.
2 months. It took a little longer for the logo to come out, but 2 months to qualify.
Yeah.
And then right now we're doing $300,000 a month.
And if you're building an agency, convention is one of the best times to weed people out too.
Yes.
Because
in the beginning of the year,
will let you know by showing up, and the ones who are not won't.
Yeah.
You know. So, anyways, thanks, Efraysa.
Thank you
Thanks
for
coming
having
through.
me.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Go to FFLconvention.com, January 29th through February 1st of 2025, Irving Convention Center at Las Colinas, Irving, Texas. I didn't know it was called that. I just learned that today. But go get registered. It's all of $100, $99.
Yes,
Like we spend
$99.
$99 on a lot of dumb things.
Make sure you buy not only your ticket, but the ticket for everybody else that's going. And
There
if
you
you have
go.
that one brand new agent that cannot afford to pay
help
for
them
them.
out. Yeah.
Yes,
Absolutely.
they all need to be there.
There you go. Well, guys, you know where to find us every week right here on True Talk. Check out Digna's True Talk if you haven't seen that already, and we'll see you next week right here.
Thank you.